A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my dental colleagues and other medical professionals all around the world. Here we come again in the time of COVID with some latest knowledge about dentistry, advanced dentistry, implantology, everything. Today, I have a very special speaker with me, Dr. Ahmad Al Hassiny from New Zealand. And it's 6 a.m. in New Zealand right now. Good morning, Dr. Ahmad.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? That's quite an early morning to give such a presentation of knowledge to people all over the world. Hats off to you, doctor, and we really appreciate you looking as fresh as we look at 11 a.m.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Dr. Ahmed is doing very good work in terms of digital dentistry, and today we'll be talking about intraoral scanners through his presentation. Before we start with the presentation, let me tell you something about Dr. Ahmed. I have his biography. Dr. Ahmad Al Hassiny is the founder and director of the Institute of Digital Dentistry, which is a leading and future-focused online training academy with a mission to ensure that dentists globally have easy and affordable access to the best digital dentistry training possible. Having graduated from the University of Otago with first-class honors and being awarded many clinical and research prizes, Dr. Ahmed has continued his pursuit of excellence in dentistry. He has seen firsthand through his own work how CAD/CAM and digital dentistry can positively change the daily dental aspects of complex digital dentistry, including CAD/CAM full mouth rehabilitation and smile design. Dr. Ahmed is a global leader in digital dentistry and intraoral scanners, carrying out lectures for many companies and industry. He's one of the few in the world who personally owns and uses all mainstream scanners and CAD/CAM systems in his clinic. Through his Institute of Digital Dentistry, he is happy to see dentists around the world develop the confidence and perspective of adopting modern techniques and reap the many benefits of CAD/CAM and digital dentistry can have on their career as well as practice. So you can imagine from his biography how much he's working with digital dentistry, which is the need of the hour, the need of the day, and for many years to come. Dr. Ahmed, I welcome you again on behalf of Global Summit to present a webinar with us.
Thank you, my friend.
Sir, Dr. Ahmed?
Yeah.
Dr. Ahmed, can you hear me?
Yeah, my friend, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. So I would like to ask you something about digital dentistry. What are your comments about digital dentistry in brief?
I mean, I think with digital dentistry, it's well established the benefits. And I really do think it is the future of dentistry. I think everyone appreciates that nowadays. When we first got into it many years ago, it was a niche market and few players in the market. And I don't think anyone really appreciated how many benefits there are. But these days you see it all around you. I mean, it's the same with the transition from film to digital radiography. I think without a doubt it's the future and that everyone should be getting into it.
That's great. So any comments about digital impressions and the standard of care they offer?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's one of those things with digital scanning. The benefits are countless. I mean, comfort for you and your patient, ease of use, efficiency, ease of storage. It really is a no-brainer anymore. And I think anyone who's doing any form of impression should seriously consider a scanner, especially as the prices keep dropping.
Okay. And what do you think about the knowledge about digital dentistry? uh, it's not available in the actual courses in the professional colleges. What do you think is the best platform right now to learn digital dentistry?
Well, that's a great question. I run my own platform, so obviously I'm a bit biased, but in all aspects, I
Yeah.
think these days there's a lot of accessibility for good resources. I mean, a good start would be make sure that your supplier or distributor of this technology gives you good support. But also there's a lot of different academies and institutes and a lot of resources now online to master these skills.
That's great. So, in this time of COVID, what do you think digital dentistry has a role in any clinic? I think uh, less chances of cross infection.
Yeah, hugely. I mean, I think there's a massive advantage of avoiding impressions anyway. But definitely right, the reduction in cross infection, the reduction in having multiple appointments for your patients. So in this day and age, we really, especially in places that are harder hit by COVID, we want to minimize how many times we're seeing a patient. And being able to offer something like a same day crown in an hour or two is a massive advantage.
Yes. And Dr. Ahmed, since digital dentistry is booming all over the world, do you think there should be any regulations for that?
Of course, I think the tricky thing about the regulation is that, as always, legislation lags behind technology, lags behind new methodologies. But for without a doubt, I mean, I think at the moment the whole digital dentistry industry is self-regulated, and thankfully the players in the market at the moment they're quite reputable, like CEREC, 3Shape. So they're quite reputable, and you can have trust in these companies. It's going to be interesting though, because in the next few years, we're seeing a massive wave of cheaper and cheaper products. And yeah, I think there's going to be need some, at least a yardstick in terms of accuracy, because there's a lot of marketing claims being made these days.
Dr. Ahmed, as I see that you have done a lot of work in these scanners, do you think there are user-friendly apps or programs for these?
Of
Are
course,
these user-friendly?
and this is something I'll touch on in my presentation, actually. It's a great question because there's two main concerns about getting into digital dentistry. One is ROI, and ROI is a very, very common concern. And the other is ease of use. How easy is it going to be for me to learn this stuff? And I personally think the good news is these days they're very easy to use. I mean, even in my own practice, a lot of our dental nurses are trained to do scanning. So it's really not as tricky or difficult as it used to be.
Okay. Oh, so this was a good start to the topic, and I would request Dr. Ahmed. Let's start with the presentation. I'm really excited to learn more about this,
Okay,
and let's start with your presentation.
let's get the
Over to
show
Dr.
on the
Ahmed.
road.
Yes, let's
All
go the show
right, guys.
on.
So,
Thank you.
look, again, it's great to be here with you, and I thank Dr. Pratinda and the team at the Global Summit for kindly inviting me today to talk to you about the range of different intraoral scanners out there and their pros and cons. This is a topic that I love to speak about, and is something that can be a lot harder than it seems, because when you first try to get into CAD/CAM, it can be daunting because these days there's a lot of options. And so what I'm going to attempt today is give you a lot of information in this lecture and hopefully make your buying decisions a little easier so you can start making some informed choice. So before we get into that, a little bit about me. So in case anyone has missed it, my name is Dr. Ahmed, and I'm a general dentist with a passion for CAD/CAM and digital dentistry. And I live and work in a small country in the corner of the world, and that country is New Zealand. We're an isolated country, and in these crazy times, it turns out it's a blessing. New Zealand's a beautiful country, and I'm lucky to call it home. I've lived here for over 20 years, and this is a picture of the capital, Wellington, where I live. So I graduated from the University of Otago here in New Zealand. And since then, I've been working in private practice full time with my father and my brother, who are also dentists. So together we own and operate 4 clinics and over 20 chairs in Wellington, New Zealand. And all of our clinics are equipped with intraoral scanners and CAD-CAM from day one. And we strongly believe going digital will completely change your practice and make dentistry much more enjoyable for both you and your patients. And that's why we've personally invested so much in this technology. We're also very passionate about CAD-CAM and teaching our colleagues everything we've learned. So we run hands-on courses in the clinic, and we run an online Institute of Digital Dentistry. So we are what you would call early adopters, and we got into CAD-CAM over 10 years ago. Now, the thing was, it was very different back then, and it was a lot harder than it is now. When we first got into CAD-CAM, there was very little support, and there wasn't even that many options like we have now. Back then, it was either a Planmeca scanner or what was called an E4D, for anyone that remembers, or a CEREC Bluecam. And both of these were very basic scanners compared to now. Now, when we first invested, we had similar fears that many of you will share before investing into CAD-CAM. And these haven't changed across all the years. And these are all the common fears. And, it's the common concerns everyone asks themselves. Is it going to be a good return on investment? Is it, worth the money? Is it hard to learn? You question if the scanners are accurate. You're doing everything normally and properly now. Why would you change? So when we got into scanners very early on, it was hard for us because we were one of the few people in New Zealand who had a scanner to begin with. And what we didn't know back then, and we learned over the years, was all the advantages of scanners and CAD-CAM dentistry. And it's completely changed dentistry for us. We took the plunge and we haven't looked back, and it's been really beneficial, and I think it can be for you too. Now, people are often worried about learning scanning, and this is an old video I've taken. And the good news is that these days scanners are much easier to use. They're fast, they're simple, it's really a no-brainer anymore. This is an example of a full arch scan, which can easily be done within 1 minute. And there's huge benefits here that we touched on at the start of the presentation. And it's not just in terms of impression cost, but patient communication and comfort. And as you can see, this is a very straightforward process with practice under a minute easily, and compare that to 3 to 5 minutes of a PVS impression, which everybody hates, including the patient. So over the past 10 years, we've continued to invest a lot into CAD-CAM. This is an image of our clinic, and we are fortunate to own almost every mainstream scanner, including Trios, CEREC, Planmeca, Medit scanners, and a few others that are not in this picture. And we also get scanners sent to us from companies to review through the Institute of Digital Dentistry. We are one of the few in the world that has direct access to all of this and experience with all these machines and CAD-CAM software. And the best part of all of this is we purchase these privately. We're not sponsored or tied with any company. And because I have tested these personally, it allows me to give my opinions based on clinical use without any bias. And what I quickly realized early on is there's clear advantages and disadvantages of each product. This is information that you're never going to get from a sales rep or a KOL, as they all claim their particular scanner is the best. So in this limited time, that's enough about me. I'm going to attempt to give you as much information as possible about, in my opinion, the top 5 scanners that are currently dominating the market. And obviously, this is a huge topic to go in detail. So I'll summarize a lot of this information for you. And feel free to leave any comments, any questions, and we'll go over questions at the end. So the 5 scanners we're going to review today is the CEREC Primescan, the 3Shape Trios 4, the iTero Element 5D, the Planmeca Emerald S, and the Medit i500 scanners. And I'm sure many of you would have heard these scanners before. So we're going to go over the relative pros and cons of each scanners and the costs. Now, before we jump into the reviews, these are some of the main things I think you should consider before investing in a scanner. And that's your budget, what procedures you mainly focus on, and if you want to carry out in-house CAD-CAM. Because in my opinion, this will point you in the right direction. So in regards to budget, all scanners are obviously an investment, and they can be a sizable one at that. Scanners range from about $18,000 to $70,000. And in these current times, that can be a difficult investment, and it's something you really need to plan for. Scanners also come with ongoing fees. They come in the form of scanning heads, software updates, servicing, and lastly, subscription costs. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. Many companies claim they don't have subscription costs, but call it something different, like a membership or a club. The other thing I think you should consider is, what do you focus on in your practice? And this will impact what scanner you purchase. Do you do a lot of crown and bridge work? Is that your bread and butter? Do you want to provide same-day crowns? Maybe you don't care about same-day dentistry at all, and you've built your practice around implants or Invisalign. Each scanner seems to fit a certain niche better than others. So ask yourself, what is the main purpose for investing in a scanner, apart from just replacing impression material? And finally, think about the future and upskilling, especially in regards to CAD/CAM, because are you open to carrying out milling in-house? Because before we got into CAD/CAM, we sent all our lab work to a lab, obviously. And over the years, we now do 90 to 95% of our lab work in-house. Very few things leave our clinic. And that includes basic restorations such as crown and bridge, smile designs, rehabs, implants, aligners, and now moving on to dentures. So everything you see here is things I've carried out in-house. And as you can see, CAD/CAM restorations can be aesthetic. They can be perfect fitting, and it's much easier than you may think. This is all possible these days and has saved us thousands of dollars per week. Here's another example completely done in-house, from smile design to fabrication of a smile makeover. So in my opinion, digital dentistry has the potential to completely change your practice and make it more enjoyable for both you and your patients. The benefits of scanners are endless, and I'm not going to cover that today because I'm sure you've heard about it many times. So with those questions out of the way that you should consider, like budget, procedures, and if you want to carry out CAD/CAM, let's get into the reviews. So let's start off with the CEREC Primescan. This is arguably the most well-known scanner company in the world, and this is Dentsply Sirona's latest scanner, released in 2019. And it's likely one of the most popular scanners on the market. CEREC is one of the oldest players in this market, and they have really revolutionized digital dentistry. They were doing this back in 1985, so they have a lot of experience in the field. CEREC Primescan is a premium product. The scanner is the most expensive on the market, around 70,000 USD. And that's with the CAD software, about half the cost for the scanner only. And this makes it double some other scanners. It's good to keep in mind that you do get what you pay for, because this Primescan truly is a great scanner. There's a lot of technology in this machine. It's very fast and it's accurate to scan with. The AI built into it is also some of the best in class. However, for a scanner, the CEREC's main advantage over all others is the same-day workflow, because it's arguably the best. And part of the reason this is the case is they have a great software and they have an amazing milling machine. And it's all refined and it all works seamlessly together. It's very easy for any of us and any of the members of our team, like DAs and any other associate dentists, to carry out this workflow in-house. We've been using CEREC system for many, many years for same-day restorations, and this is an example. And it's definitely the flagship feature of the system. A patient can come into the clinic and walk out with a perfect fitting ceramic restoration within 1 to 2 hours, depending on the material you choose. And with the Primescan and PrimeMill, this has become a lot better. CEREC is the only scanner company that also makes a milling machine. All other scanning companies require third-party mills to carry out in-house workflow. And most of them don't compete that well with the Primescan in terms of an efficient system. And so, therefore, for same-day dentistry, the Primescan and the PrimeMill really should be on your radar. Like I mentioned, the other benefit of the CEREC system is the software. It's very streamlined, it's easy to do. They've refined it over the years many times. You can see the automatic design proposals are done very well by the software. And again, because it doesn't rely on third-party milling machines, it works very well. So to make it simple, some of the best features of Primescan is the system as a whole. It's not really just the scanner. It's the system excels in same-day dentistry. It's fast, it's high-tech, it's an impressive piece of equipment. So what are the downsides? Well, it's expensive. And this is a common theme for many of these scanners, and you'll hear me say that very often today. The Primescan is the most expensive scanner on the market right now. And for those who have no interest in same-day dentistry, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like I mentioned, it's around $70,000 with the CAD software and about half that price without the CAD software. If you're just scanning to send to a lab, there's much cheaper alternatives right now that will do the trick. The other thing about the Primescan is it's a very large scanner. It's big and heavy, and it's one of the heaviest on the market. You can see the Primescan here on the left and how much bigger it is compared to the previous generation Omnicam on the right. And this is an example of some of the scanners we have in our practice. From left to right, you can see the Primescan, the Trios 4, the Medit, and the Planmeca Emerald. So as you can see, clearly the Primescan is the largest. But in truth, this hasn't been a major issue for us. And that's thanks to the large sensor in the Primescan and the great software. The size doesn't make it too difficult to use, but it can be annoying when scanning the distal surface of a second molar or in small mouths or in tight areas. You definitely notice it when you're using a smaller scanner. Lastly, in my opinion, the Primescan for its premium price doesn't offer too much more than scanning. And what I mean by that is that you'll see me talk about these other scanners, and they offer orthodontic simulation, patient monitoring, caries detection. And you're not going to find these here. In essence, it's just a very good scanner with a good CAD/CAM software. And if you're thinking about doing in-house crowns, you should consider the CEREC. It should at least be a consideration. Next up is the Trios 4, and this is again another premium scanner by 3Shape. And the Trios 4 ranges from about $34,000 to about $50,000, depending on the configuration you buy. And that means either pod or the cart or wireless, etc. And look, the Trios 4 is another fast and easy to use scanner. It's a lot lighter than the Primescan. And a unique feature about the Trios is that the Trios 4 is the only wireless scanner on the market. And this is quite a unique feature, which actually makes it quite convenient to use. And it's funny because I hear from sales rep all the times from other companies that say things like the battery life only lasts 5 minutes, or there's connectivity issues. But no, these are all not true statements. When I had it in the clinic, I averaged about 20 to 30 minutes, which leaves a lot to be desired, but it's easily enough for multiple cases. The Trios really was the company. The 3Shape, was the company that gave CEREC most of the competition in the early days, especially when Planmeca started to lose its footing a little bit. The main thing about the Trios is that it offers a range of different useful features. The Trios 4 has caries detection, smile design, orthodontic simulations, all built into the software. The main thing that makes the 3Shape system stand out is their software ecosystem. Their software almost does it all, and it does it well. Indirect restorations, implant guides, aligners, orthodontic bracket guides, night guards, splints, even dentures. It's a really well-made software, and it does very well work. Now, no other scanner software offers this range, and it's obvious that 3Shape has invested heavily into their software. The only other common way of doing this is using a third-party software such as Exocad. Here's an example of one of my favorite 3Shape software, and that's the Smile Design. And the software works great. It's easy to use. It fits perfectly as a communication tool, and there's a nice touch with the before and after slider. And for those who don't already know, Smile Design is a huge, case booster. It boosts case acceptance. It really does help with presenting these cases to your patients. And it's great to see this inbuilt into a scanner. The Trios Smooth, which you see here in my clinic, is also one of the most ergonomic carts on the market. And I find it quite, amazing for patient engagement, how they've designed it. So apart from the ecosystem and the cart, the other neat features of the Trios 4 is that, it's ergonomic, and again, it has multiple functions: caries detection, smile design, simulation, patient monitoring. And lastly, it's the only wireless scanner on the market. The main downside of the scanner is, again, cost and subscriptions. The Trios 4, like I mentioned, ranges from about 35 to 50,000 USD. And again, that makes it a lot more expensive than a lot of the cheap scanners coming on the market. And for a lot of people, that's quite a lot of money to spend on a piece of equipment at the moment. The other thing, however, is the subscription costs. And this is a major issue for the Trios scanners. The scanner cannot be used at all if you stop your subscription, which is a few thousand per year. So you're locked out. And if you opt for any software modules, they also have subscriptions tied to them. So the scanner can become very expensive if you sign up for all these modules. And look, from my interactions with dentists and what I hear, most people are getting a bit tired of having to pay so many yearly fees to keep their scanner working or their software going. The last downside is not really a fault of the scanner per se, but just the system is that the 3Shape doesn't offer a milling machine. And that's really the only major issue I see apart from the cost. And for me, I think CAD/CAM in-house is the best thing you'll ever do for your practice. With the 3Shape, you need to invest in a third-party mill. And this can cause some issues because it's just not as seamless as a CEREC system, which is an all-in-one solution. That's not to say it doesn't work, and don't understand me incorrectly, but it's a little bit more piecemeal. And if you have issues with your mill communicating with your scanner, it can be, you're in between sales reps where the scanner company may say it's the milling machine and the milling machine may say it's the scanner's fault, etc. So moving on, next up is the iTero Element 5D. And iTero scanners have been known as a long time as the Invisalign scanners. And if you didn't already know, Align Technology, who own Invisalign, own iTero too. It's another high-end scanner with a price tag of around 40,000, and it comes in two options, either a cart or a USB scanner. The iTero has some nice features as well, and it's nice to see each company innovate. They've included the near-infrared caries detection in the scanner. And in my opinion, it's probably the best caries detection feature in any scanner. It's also the only scanner on the market that simultaneously takes digital impressions, intraoral images, and caries detection all in one scan. The main factor, however, that makes the iTero scanner stand out is Invisalign, and that's really what they're known for. These are the Invisalign scanners. And apart from the older CEREC OmniCam and the Trios 3 in some regions, I know not in America, but in New Zealand, no other scanner is accepted by Invisalign. So let me repeat that. Unless you have this scanner or a CEREC OmniCam, you can't send to Invisalign. So Invisalign has effectively locked everyone out. You can't send Primescan scans to Invisalign, and you can't send Trios 4. And it's a question I get asked almost every week. And that includes the Medit too. You can't send it to Invisalign. They've locked everyone out. The other handy thing about the iTero is that Align has purchased Exocad recently for a huge sum of money, and it has got a really seamless integration with the Exocad software. So this is an example of the iTero cart, and another really well-designed cart in my opinion. It works well, and when I used it in the clinic, I used both the laptop version and the cart, and I think this is far superior than the laptop version. And part of that is that everything is custom built. The computer inside is custom made to run the software well. The main factor, however, that made the iTero scanner stand out is the ClinCheck simulations. You can scan the patient, and the software will basically align the teeth. And this is an extremely powerful communication tool for patients interested in orthodontics. This used to be only found in the iTero scanners, and it made them special. But this sort of automatic segmentation and the simulation has also been done by Trios too. So really what makes the scanner stand out is that it's the dedicated Invisalign scanner. Again, Invisalign won't accept scans from anyone else. So I think this may alienate some of their customers, and it's going to really test brand loyalty, as there's many other aligner options these days. The other neat features, like I said, the caries detection. You can see an example here of that. This is the near-infrared imaging technology, and it's quite a unique feature and can be used for diagnostic purposes in your examinations. Lastly, it's quite high-tech. It's another high-tech premium scanner, and it has different applications like the patient monitoring. So what are the downsides of the scanner? Again, it's expensive. Another 40,000 scanner, and that's a sizable investment for a scanner with no CAD software at all. So Align do own, Align do own Exocad, but it's still not really inbuilt into the scanner. So you're paying that much money just for a scanner alone. Now, the other thing has got it's quite an expensive subscription cost that will set you back a few thousand per year. The thing about the iTero subscription is that you can stop it and you can still continue to use the scanner, but there's a lot of features that are removed if you do so. So you have a very good incentive to keep paying your yearly fees. The other downsides is that, frankly, the iTero scanner is large and cumbersome. The scanner itself is one of the largest and heaviest scanners on the market. It's close to 500 grams. And as you can see here, you've got the iTero Element 5D on the left, the Medit Trios 3, Planemaker Emerald, and CEREC OmniCam. And you can see it's a lot larger than the others. The size of the scanner is something you instantly notice, especially if you've used some of the lighter scanners on the market. And really the only thing that comes close to this size is the Primescan. And the downside of the iTero, it doesn't have quite the same huge sensor as the Primescan, so it makes scanning a little bit more harder to do. The other downside is that it's just simply, in my opinion, not as fast as some of the other competition, especially for its price. And I think part of the reason for that is the software, and part of the reason for that is the size of the scanner. It's just not as easy to do a full arch scan compared to a Trios or a CEREC. That's not to say it can't be done, and obviously they all work, but it is harder to do. And if anyone refutes that claim, I recommend you try them all, and you'll quickly realize that there is a difference in scanning speed. So moving on to the Emerald S, and this is a mid-tier scanner by Planemaker. And the Planemaker range used to be popular as a cheaper alternative to the CEREC scanners a wee while ago now. And its earlier model was actually the first ever CAD-CAM scanner we used. And since then, it's come a long way. And why we purchased the Planemaker initially is because it was a cheaper alternative to the CEREC. When we first got into it, we were also scared about the investment cost, so we went for the cheaper route. Now, this scanner comes as a plug and play. There's no card option, and it has a fully included CAD-CAM software free with the scanner. In essence, the main benefits of the Planemaker Emerald S, in my opinion, is that it's a lot more affordable than the other premium scanners. It's in the middle of the pack, around 30,000 USD, and it has no subscription cost at all. It also comes with some premium features like caries detection. It's very lightweight at 235 grams. That's less than half the weight of some of the other scanners. And overall, look, it's another scanner that is a lot cheaper than some of these other premium scanners, and it does work. The main downside, however, that I think with the Emerald S is around the software. And I personally think that the Planemaker software is starting to lag behind the competition quite significantly now. And even the AI seems to have some issues with stitching and full arch scans, especially if you don't follow the scanning protocol precisely. So this is an example of the older Remixer software before a very recent update. So we're in 2020 now, and it only recently got updated. And this software was begging for an update for years. It's quite old-fashioned. This is the newer software, and I think overall it looks better. It works well, but to me, it's just simply not as good as others like the Trios and the CEREC. It's nowhere near sophisticated. The workflow, I would say, is not as automated. It's more limited. But again, for a cheap alternative to CAD-CAM, this is maybe what you're looking for. And this example becomes more apparent when you compare it to other scanners like the CEREC software. Looks a lot more modern and sharp. And the Emerald just doesn't have a huge number of software options for the CAD side. It's mainly Crown and Bridge. And I understand it's quite popular with some implant practices as well. The other downside, in my opinion, about the Emerald S is, again, although the CAD software is free, the design proposals aren't very good. The software is lacking when you compare it to others in many ways. So, in essence, what you're getting is a pretty good scanner, But I think the software is letting it down compared to some of the competition. And lastly, we're going to go over the Medit i500. Now, those of you who are interested in scanning and haven't quite invested yet have likely heard about this scanner, as it made waves in the industry as a very inexpensive option to get into scanning. The Medit was released about 2 years ago, and we got it soon after its release. And the main advantage of this was it was priced at 18,000 USD. So this made it automatically, when it first came out and still now, one of the most cost-effective options out there. And this made it very popular in the market. Unlike other scanners, the Medit also has no subscription cost at all. There is a subscription with its cloud storage over a free limit, but the scanner itself, it's updated for free. And although it's cheap, it's a good scanner, and it's quite impressive given its price point. The thing about the Medit to realize is that a lot of people compare the Medit to the Trios and the CEREC, but it's not. You're not always comparing apples with apples and apples with oranges, because the issue with the Medit is that it doesn't come with a CAD/CAM software. These other scanners have a whole CAD/CAM ecosystem built around them. So in my opinion, a better comparison would be the Medit to something like the Trios Basic, which is black and white, or the Medit to the CEREC Primescan with no CAD software, which is around the 35,000 mark. The main advantage, however, of the Medit i500 is by far the cost. We know it's well established that cost is the #1 barrier for entry of this technology. And this price of the scanner made it accessible for many people. The Medit, again, doesn't have any subscription cost, which is another huge advantage for people who are worried about the bottom line. And in my opinion, it's also just a great scanner. It's quite impressive. It works very well. It's smooth. And the thing that makes it most impressive is that it's cheaper than the premium scanners on the market, and it still scans very well. Because don't get me wrong, I've tried a lot of scanners, and I've tried cheap scanners before, and some of them have been really not that good. But this really punches above its weight. And remember, it's half the cost of some of these others we've discussed. The other good feature of the Medit i500 is the support. And I think personally, the Medit team are in a phase of growth in regards to their scanner, and they're investing massive resources to support their users. And I personally found them very pleasant to deal with. And good support is crucial for beginners. So what's the downsides of the Medit i500? I think the main drawback is that it doesn't have any associated CAD/CAM software. So it doesn't have a design software, it doesn't have a mill. And I'm a big believer that just buying a scanner to replace impression material is not hugely beneficial. The main advantages of digital dentistry comes with CAD/CAM and in-house milling, in my opinion. But I'm also aware what the market wants, and the majority of the market just want a scanner on the option. The other thing about the Medit i500 is that because it doesn't have a CAD/CAM software, if you want to do CAD/CAM, you have this reliance on Exocad, basically. You have to get either Exocad, or some people use the 3Shape software, but most Medit users are using Exocad. The other thing about the Medit is that there's few applications. As of now, there's no orthodontic simulation, there's no smile design, and there's no caries detection. But I do hear that these things are actually being updated soon. The other thing about the Medit is that it is fast. It's a very fast scanner, but I wouldn't call it the fastest scanner, especially considering the more expensive options such as the CEREC Primescan. So that's basically it for these reviews, and I hope you've enjoyed them. I mean, in this limited time, I've tried to give you as much information as possible about these scanners, and now hopefully you have a better idea of the options that are out there. And look, this is a huge topic, and there's obviously others in the market. This is a review of just some of the more common scanners that I get asked about. And look, there's other honorable mentions such as the Carestream scanners. Shining 3D is another cheap scanner. The Heron is, I know, is a 3-disc Heron is a popular scanner, and well, it's a United States. It's made in the United States, so it's making some traction there. And the Wow scanner, which is very small. But like I say, these are just some of the most common scanners, and in these time restraints, the ones that I wanted to cover for you today. Now, for those who want to learn more about scanners, we publish comprehensive reviews about all these scanners on our website in our blog section. And this way you can read more if you want more information. You can decide is this specific scanner right for you? And we've already published reviews about the Trios 4, Itero, and some lesser known scanners. And this is a summary of one of our most popular publications, and this is the IDS scanner review that we've published, and it's been viewed over 70,000 times. Now, we've tried and tested the majority of these scanners and all major scanners on the market, and this is a summary of what we've found. So this could be a good reference tool for you. And that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed the review, and thanks again for Dr. Pretinda and the team at the Global Summit for inviting me to talk to you. We welcome any questions now if you have any.
Well, it was a very informative and great talk, Dr. Ahmad. I have to watch your presentation again to choose which scanner is the best. But there's nothing best. What I saw in your presentation was you have indicated each scanner for individualized use or a multiple use. Like a single can't be used everywhere, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, and this is why we purchased so many scanners, to be honest, is because we didn't purchase them to get into education. Is what we found when we first got into scanners. You buy one scanner and then you realize the limitations and you need a solution. So you go and buy the next scanner, and we keep doing that. Now we have a stack of scanners, but obviously that might not be applicable to everyone out there. But what I would suggest is just do your due diligence and do your research about what's your main purpose for a scanner, because some are better than others.
So I think with the scanners in our clinic, this is the digital era we are working in.
Of course, and it's just going to become more and more common.
Yes. So, Dr. Ahmad, do you see anything in scanning which is going to relate to all the specialities so that we can interrelate our treatment plans digitally using these scanners?
I think a lot of that already exists, really. I mean, especially with some of these more open and quite comprehensive softwares, like something like ExaCAD, I think is an incredible design software. It's quite interesting that it's a bit of controversy because Itero has bought them, but something like ExaCAD, yeah, we use that for a lot of our larger cases, and you can almost do everything on that software. And that software accepts scans from any scanner. All scanners are open now. They all export STL at the very minimum. And using something like ExaCAD, you really can get into some multidisciplinary dentistry.
So I guess the audience, we had a lot of information of all the major intraoral scanners, the applications, advantages, pros, cons, disadvantages. You know, we have learned a lot in these 45 minutes. And Dr. Ahmed, maybe in near future, maybe we can elaborate on these topics to a larger extent, if you allow us.
Yeah, of course. Look, I'm more than happy to come and speak again. It'll be my pleasure.
So on behalf of Global Summit, I really thank Dr. Ahmad Al Hassiny for the very informative session we had with you. And to the audience, thank you very much for being a great audience and listening to today's presentation. So on behalf of Global Summit, I thank the audience and Dr. Ahmad Al Hassiny. Will be okay, Dr. Hassiny, we have a question. Can conventional impression replace digital scanner ever?
Like a conventional, like a alginate or PVS impression?
Yeah, it's a question from the audience.
Right. Look, I haven't used impression basically since I got into scanners, and the only reason we use impression now is if we are sending to a lab that doesn't have a CAD/CAM system. That's the only reason we use impressions now. So in short, I think it's the opposite. I think digital scanners nowadays have completely replaced digital impressions. I mean, conventional impressions.
Very true. Very true. I was almost thinking on the same line. So, Dr. Ahmed, I thank you wholeheartedly from Global Summit, and hopefully we'll have a chance to meet again and talk more about digital dentistry. Thanks for a very precious lecture and your precious time. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks. 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 Bye bye, everyone.